I've been playing Rocket League since its initial release in 2015, so playing professionally for about 4.5 years. Since I started playing in 2015, I've been on a number of teams. Starting out on Legacy back in 2017, 2016. I think the most notable one was 2018. I played under Avant Gaming in the Gfinity Elite Series, a regional LAN event. I placed second in Season 1. Going into Season 2 of Gfinity, I went on to Team Order and placed third. I spent 2019 on Chiefs/Renegades and went to a number of international events.
For me, it was getting picked up by Justice, which was my first successful team back in Season 5 with Yeezy and Steve. We came 5th in RLCS.
This is my first time doing anything. I wasn't allowed to play back when Misty was playing. I was obviously too young. Now I'm only just allowed to play, so this is it for me. This is my first time.
Stage 1 groups, the results, we had only one loss, going 6-1 to good and useful. Going into RLCS compared to just your normal weekly events and your other normal tournaments, there's a difference in pressure. Usually RLCS is like, in previous seasons you'd only get one shot in league play. We'd only play one round robin, but now since there's more regional events, that same sort of pressure is still there, where, this tournament really matters. So even if it is Stage 1 groups, things do change a bit, and you got to sort of sort out your head and your whole team dynamic.
We weren't really concerned too much trying to make it to top 8. Like, we sort of expected that. As long as we played our game, that we'd breeze through that.
Going 6-1 in groups, still a good result. Still got the seed we were after, beating Ground Zero in the last round. And going into Stage 2 Swiss, I think it really paid off for us, since I think we got a much better matchup for our first round, and it snowballed into our second and third rounds.
We're about to have round number 3 of the quarterfinals in the ESL Rocket League OCE Championship, and it's probably the match of the day.
Diabol's the new exciting team against Mindfreak, the defending champions.
We have a pretty good record against Mindfreak. We're feeling pretty confident. We hadn't versed them that much in tournaments beforehand. We lost them once, but that was still really early on. We didn't think much of it.
Freak's starting to get in the offense. You can see their offense is actually a bit more threatening than we've seen from Diabol's, although there's a massive dribble from...
Diabol's have had the most attack, and it's kind of paid off in the end, even though it was a counter-attack that got them a goal. Maybe another counter-attack too with Zen's. The pressure is really on for Diabol's in this match. Provide a lot more consistency. He's actually been kind of that player that's never been in the top 4 before, that's been very consistent, and Fiber does at least show up with his first goal.
Yeah, well, surely, seeing themselves at number 1 on their ladder, their expectations will be higher for themselves, but, the split before the major, they ended that 5th as well, and now we have Fiber showing up.
Out. The first 2 games, it wasn't exactly great gameplay. I'd say we were struggling with a couple of nerves because it was our first RLCS playoffs together as a team. So I'd say the first 2 games was more of just, I think we had some fortunate breakaways from Mindfreak overcommitting quite a bit. I think we went up 3-1 in the series. The 2 games after that was, I think, basically just a breakdown of our playstyle. We weren't actually doing what we wanted to do. Mindfreak were really good at maintaining their pressure and taking their opportunities. We didn't take our opportunities too well. Some missed shots, some misplays, some panic on defense, stuff like that. It all accumulated into those next 2 games being losses. By game 7, we G'd up. We'd prepped. We were just thinking, all right, we're not losing to Mindfreak. We've got we've got a really good record against Mindfreak. So in our heads, we were just like, we're not losing to Mindfreak. It's not happening. We don't care if they're major winners.
And it's really going to be down to this first goal. The first goal always makes such a difference for both teams. Misty, you can see, just waiting middle for this pass from Fiber and steps up in this game 7.
He just comes out of the fog, and Misty gets this first goal. And now Zen just slows it down, avoids the demo, and keeps it pinned in the defense. Misty fakes out one, gets it, and he's got the second goal. Direwolves, they just let the clock tick down, and with 0 seconds, Direwolves in their first RLCS with this new roster make it into the top 4.
This new addition of Misty, there's so much potential in this roster.
Going into the game 7, we just did our thing, really. We controlled the ball, we made our plays, and we took it. We should have closed it out much earlier at the 4-1, rather than letting them take another 2 games, make it a bit more stressful.
When we won, it was more relief. They had full momentum going into that game 7. The lads just clutched up. Yeah, it was just a relief to get the W.
Going into the weekend, it was all about, all right, we're going to play our game, because one thing we struggle with is all the time is getting sucked into trying to play the other team's playstyle almost, where we try matching their pace. We get drawn away from what we wanted to be doing. So having Vibe there, keeping us in line, doing what we want to do, always the game saver, I'd say.
Going into this one, it's going to be tough for Direwolves, I think, if they play like they did in
Going into the Cringe Society series, we'd already played them the day before. We had an okay idea of what they wanted to do. It was more of just us executing what we wanted to do. The overall 2-4 loss for us was just really small mistakes. Like, I think they're all 1-goal games.
So even Direwolves, who struggled to keep that 1-goal lead at the final spot, but they do manage it, despite how dicey it gets, and Cringe Society get off to an early lead in the series.
I was expecting a hard fight with Cringe Society. We had a really bad start, 3-0 down, and that's when Vive came in. He's like, all right, boys, what's going wrong? Then we started to pick up the pace, game by game.
Each of their goals, I'd say, was mostly just us making mistakes. Like, there were very unforced errors. Going back to what I was saying about Cringe and having those really experienced players, they know how a good team dynamic works. I'd say we just need a bit more time.
Gets the solid win on that 50,
great pass.
gets a brilliant pass, it's behind the defender. Drippe secures it in overtime to take game 3.
We let them get on top too early, and all 3 of us maybe played a bit too passive, which is not what we usually do. We got stuck in defense a lot and couldn't really break free. They had good pressure, stealing the boost and getting bumps every now and then. Yeah, it was hard to break out of that.
I'm pretty happy about our overall performance. Our goal was top 4, and we did achieve that.
We have a pretty clear direction of what we want to do and what we want to focus on. It's just a couple of things that we want to tweak, and come this next regional event, I think we're going to smash it.
Regional 2, definitely want to push for top 2. That is my next goal. Top 2 is very doable, especially when the top 5 teams, it's like any of the top 5 teams right now could literally win a split.
Regional 2, I think we just need to be a bit more calm and composed, and I think that'll just come with time together, and having the experience under the high pressure this first regional will really help coming into Regional 2.
It's going to be a really good Regional 2. Come 2 weeks of practice, we're going to play Stage 1, no worries. Stage 2, no worries. Get first seed, smash it out, get dub. Yeah, I've got full trust in an extremely good result upcoming event. Pinzenials. Loop.